Hello, hello. Welcome back to We Still Like Each Other, the podcast. My name is Stephanie.
My name's Travis.
And this is the podcast where we prove that the honeymoon phase never has to end.
Never.
So, I know if you're watching on YouTube, I look very pregnant, right? However, if you are listening to this, if you are watching this, it is very likely that River is here or on his way.
Yeah, we are preparing. This is preparation.
Yes.
One of the things that we knew early on when deciding to do this podcast is that we had to be consistent. So with that comes never missing a week.
And preparation.
So we are pre-recording some episodes just in case we're not able to, meet that Sunday deadline.
Exactly.
So yeah, we're here.
We're here. So today's episode is going to be a very detailed, complicated, deep, so y'all can relate submission. Like it's so not dense, it's so thick, it's so full of information and such a complicated relationship that it's going to take up majority of the episode, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So this is like the focus of it.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
It is. It takes a lot of twists and turns, and I get very defensive because Travis made a face like, what
okay.
do you mean?
I guess we'll see where you go with that.
You know me, I'm very pro women, and I be calling men out on their bullshit when I see it.
Sometimes it's okay not to be pro woman and call women out on their bullshit.
What?
Yeah, it is.
So it's okay to not be pro woman ever?
No. I mean, in this case, it's okay to not be on the side of the woman. That's what I meant to say.
So correct yourself, because I was like, whoa.
So I'm taking this ring off.
It is never okay not to be pro women.
But
no.
My point is, it's okay. You can be pro woman and still call someone out on their shit.
Oh yeah, of course. And in that, it's kind of like a version of tough love. Where I'm gonna be very honest about what I feel like the person who submitted this story should have done.
Yeah.
And what red flags they missed. And yeah, of course, that does not make me not pro woman ever.
As long as you're able to be biased, that's my point.
Be biased?
I mean,
or not be biased.
Not be biased.
Travis, you okay? You need some more water?
Need something special in this cup.
He needs a shot. All right. Before we did that, one of our listeners asked, can you please tell the story of how you picked River's name?
Okay.
And
it's deep.
It's pretty boring. So River doesn't have any special meaning to our relationship, to anything.
It could have a little.
What are you going to say?
Waves.
I knew it. Go ahead. So tell a little bit about that.
It's corny. I like it, but
it's not corny.
It's corny. It's sweet to us, but I feel like telling the story is like, ugh.
Ew, that's so cringe.
So early on, Steph and I used to say how we were so compatible and we were on the same wavelength.
Mm-hmm. Or we were on the same wave. We never said, yeah.
Well, yeah, on the same wave.
It's short for wavelength.
Exactly. I'm a nerd. So there's a wave emoji on iPhone. I switched from Android to iPhone for you. I don't think we've ever told that story.
He was team Android before
she used to not get my text messages. So then I went and switched my phone. And
that sounds kind of psycho of you. You're like, yeah, bitch, you're really not getting my text. Let me see. I'm going to get an iPhone and see if you keep on lying.
No. I just knew most people I knew were on iMessage. Mm-hmm. And there's, I was always Googling, is it possible? And there's a bunch of posts.
A whole thread. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, got on iPhone, and when we figured out that we were so compatible and on the same wave, there's a wave emoji, and I think you'll even notice us use it on the podcast sometimes, on the Instagram podcast page. And yeah, so we're on, that's our emoji, that's our word.
There's another big place where it is.
Oh, it's engraved.
It's engraved. band. In our wedding
in our
bands.
wedding band. It was a surprise.
Yeah.
I think the day we picked it up.
The day we picked up the rings, I had like called them behind your back, right? And told them to write waves in the rings.
Yeah. I never take this thing off, so I can't tell you the last time I've seen it. So with waves, you kind of think of a river,
Or
water,
ocean, currents.
That's,
So that could be it. But honestly, we didn't think that
deep. No, we got to be honest.
Yeah.
So picking a name was a little tough. My father started this tradition where he named all his kids with the same initials, TOW. I'm sure you've heard my last name in other episodes, Whiteman. Mm-hmm. But my full name is Travis O'Neill Whiteman. Mm-hmm.
And your dad, your brother, your sister.
My brother named his children. He has 2 sons.
With the same initials.
Same initials. It's kind of a cheat code for my brother because his first son was the third. Mm-hmm. And then he probably took the only other good boy name for his second son. So it was really difficult. We did try, though.
Did we try?
I tried.
Okay.
Now the truth is coming out.
It's not the truth because I feel like, yes, we did say like there's no nice T names. Yes. And if one felt right, okay. But I wasn't really big on following the tradition.
Okay. Well, I know you did mention that, but for me personally, like if I had came across a T name, I would have fought for it.
Okay.
But there were honestly none that felt right.
Yeah, there were none that felt right.
So yeah,
I honestly
I hear where you're coming from, but I know, knowing me, that if there were one that I was like, damn, this is it, we would have had a nice conversation about it.
Do you want to, should I share, or are you going to share why I wasn't big on the tradition?
You can share.
So, as you all know, Travis became Eli's father after he was already born. He was about 1 year old. So Eli does not have those initials. So I always felt like it'll be an additional thing to separate him from you and from him being your son. Obviously he has his name, but I always thought if and when we do have children, it'll make him feel super left out if you went hard, especially for this tradition. And it's like, okay, so what am I? Like, I'm not as important because I don't have these initials. So I didn't know that you would have fought for a T name. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but it was no slight against Eli. It was just...
Well, I know that. I'm not saying you had one, but I'm saying I didn't know that it was...
Yeah, I definitely thought about it. You know, it's something I was hoping to continue, something... I don't know how much thought my father has put into it. Like, I don't even know if he thought past doing it for his children. Mm. I don't know if he's like, I hope they continue it. Mm. I think, you know, it may have just happened by chance with my brother. And then now there was kind of like this slight pressure on me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, someone in your family suggested Thor. I'm like, he's not a dog.
The god of lightning.
Thor, I was like, absolutely not. I do love your sister's name, Tia, like, because it's so short. Like, Eli's name is short, but it's your sister's name.
And but if River was going to be a girl, I think that's what I meant to say. If River was going to be a girl, there were so many options. Mm-hmm. I think we would have like leaned into that, or
because we would have liked a T name.
Yeah, I could think of like 10 off the bat.
But what about the middle name, the O? That's like so hard.
Yeah. Long story short. Yeah, that's the history behind, you know, my family and naming. But we couldn't go with it. There were no T names that I liked. Mm. And what other name other than River did we kind of mess with?
You didn't mess with any other name. I liked Elliot.
Elliot. Eli.
You couldn't get with it.
I know it sounds different, but how do you always say it? Phonetically, it sounds different.
Yeah.
But on paper, it just looks too close.
Because Elliot, so short vowel E, versus Eli, long vowel E. I'm like, they're different names.
Yeah, but it's just too close.
Yeah. He thought it was way too close. Like, the same name. So one of my friends is like, yeah, you're obsessed with Eli. No, you got to pick a different name.
And so then we dropped Elliot, or at least I was like over Elliot. I think
I was okay with it. I was like, if we find a better name, but we couldn't find anything.
Do you remember how we came across River?
I found it like on a baby naming page, and I was just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and then River popped up, and I loved it, and then I thought of the movie Rio in Spanish.
I think that's what kind of sold me on it. The nickname, not the nickname, but the Spanish translation. Mm-hmm. That could be his nickname.
Rio, yes.
Because even when I was telling people, as soon as I told a few people, I was like, his name's gonna be River, but you could also call him Rio. And
yeah,
I like the package.
But
deal.
when I told you River, you were sold right away.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have to convince you.
Yeah, something about the name.
You were like, yeah, like I like that one. That one's it.
Yeah, so that's the meaning behind River's name. Nothing too deep. We just liked it.
Yes.
And I'm always thinking, there's always like time frames of people naming their kids like the same thing. I won't say any names. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but there's like a bunch of so and so.
Like there's a bunch of Stephanies that are my age.
Exactly. And so on and so forth. It happens a lot. So I feel like his name is unique enough that we won't meet any other Rivers.
Yeah. Like Eli, everyone is like, is his name Elijah? Nope, it's just Eli. But it's not as unique as River, but it's also different in the sense that his name is just Eli.
J Balvin just named his son Rio. But still not River.
Someone else on Instagram, like a friend of mine, named her son Rio right after we picked River, but it's Rio, not River. So I'm like, I guess it's popular in Spanish maybe right now.
Yeah. And I guess while we're talking names, we do have a middle name, which this one does have special meaning. We tasked Eli with coming up with the middle name. We kind of steered him in the right direction a little. It was a working name. His initial idea was to name him Peter.
He said Miles first.
He did say Miles first?
He did say Miles first, but then he said, okay, so the name is Miles because Miles Morales, which is Spider-Man, the Black Puerto Rican Spider-Man. And we love it because Eli loves Spider-Man. The name Miles is a beautiful name. But then Eli for a second said, but wait, maybe it should be Peter. Because Peter Parker was the first Spider-Man that I really loved. Because it's true, Peter Parker, he knew Peter Parker first.
Yeah.
Before Miles Morales was introduced to like popular culture. But then we were like, oh, well, no. So then we did the steering. We were like, I don't know about Peter.
Yeah. So we landed on Miles. And I think it's perfect. I think it's going to be pretty awesome, as he gets older, being able to say my older brother gave me my middle name.
After Spider-Man.
Like, yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm excited. So River Miles Whiteman.
Yes, baby.
So yeah, if you're listening to this, he is probably being breastfed right now.
Hopefully.
Yeah, so it's cool. It's exciting.
Yes. All right, you ready to get into this? Also, y'all can relate.
Where's my tea?
The tea is right here on the screen. So yeah, let's get started. Hey, Steph and Travis. I've been in a relationship with my partner for 10 years.
Ooh.
We share a son together, and I also have a daughter from a previous relationship. Like any other relationship, there's good times and bad times. Starting from the beginning of our relationship, it was great getting to know each other as we grew closer. Within a year, we had gone on our first vacation together. We met each other's kids.
Oh, so he has a kid as well?
This is okay, listen.
Oh, sorry.
He had a son from a previous relationship, which we later found out was not his son through DNA testing.
Fuck. You are not the father.
Exactly. So that's when you say he has a son too. Initially, he did, but then they found out it was not his son.
Damn, I want to know more about that.
Right, but about 6 months later, I moved in with him. What would you... Let's say you were raising a kid that you thought was yours, and then you found out it wasn't.
I could not imagine the heartbreak.
Yeah.
The inner turmoil you have to deal with. because on one hand, like that's why I'm saying I want to know more. Like, how old was he?
How long did he raise him?
Exactly. How attached are you? Because if it was just like a newborn, it would suck and it would hurt. But if it's someone who's calling you dad already, and you've
like a
been
5-year-old,
at some point, I feel like there's like this cutoff where it's just like, all right, well, I'm your father now.
I actually know someone pretty close to me who is close to someone that happened to, but I don't want to mention who they are because I didn't ask their permission. But we could talk about that after.
Okay.
I started to notice certain things about him. So after they moved in together.
6 months in.
6 months after he found out this wasn't his kid.
Oh, okay.
They had been dating for like a year, I believe.
Okay.
There were things I appreciated, which was he was a person that is caring, always looking for the good in people. He's not a man that's always in the street, doesn't smoke, rarely drinks. He's just a gamer. And
Travis?
I knew you were going to say something. He's just a gamer and about working hard and always provides.
Sounds like me.
I love me a guy who's not in the streets. Us New York women, we tend to have this desire to like date men who are in the streets. I never did. Like, for some reason, call me a punk, but like I don't really like that street shit. Like, it's not. I'm not with it. So yeah, it's like a Travis.
Yeah, sounds like exactly like me.
Don't compare yourself too much to this guy. All right, hold on. On the other side, he was never affectionate, which affected me as well. It was almost like I questioned if he wanted me or loved me because he wouldn't show it. A flirt, someone that was closed off when it came to communicating his feelings. It's like he held it in and was super secretive about it. If something was bothering him, he would suffer in silence. Who does that remind you of now?
You think me?
My dad.
Yeah.
So my dad, I don't know if you follow us on Instagram, I had posted about how dry he is. Like, I posted a picture of me like hysterically crying, hugging him, and he only hugged me with one arm and was like dead straight face. Okay. He probably said, "Why you cry?" So I feel that. So quickly about my dad. Growing up, my mother used to always complain about him being that way. And then I would judge her for it. Because he also was a hardworking man that was never in the streets, didn't drink, definitely didn't smoke. Very like a provider, a man's man, you know? So when she would complain that he wasn't affectionate, I used to be like, you're being greedy.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Like, you can't have it all.
Yeah, but now as a woman, obviously, I don't feel that way. All right, let's keep going. With all that, I looked past it and made it work. 4 years into the relationship, I was pregnant with our son. Out of all of the appointments, he came to maybe 3 or 4.
Can we stop for a second?
Yeah.
The fact that she says, with all that, I looked past it. Because, even, however much time has passed, those things that she said that were negative about him were obviously important because they've stuck with her this whole time as far as things he didn't do.
So they were red flags.
They were definitely red flags that you ignored. I don't know where the story is going next, but that was the moment where it's like, what are we doing next? Because if you aren't providing what I need,
meaning it shouldn't have lasted 4 years
exactly.
If this was an issue. But let's talk about balance, because she said, he looked for the good in people, hardworking, providing, and like I said, she probably had those same feelings of like, wow, maybe I'm asking for too much. He works hard, he provides, he's not in the streets, but he's not affectionate. I guess I could put up with that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I was pregnant with our son. Out of all of the appointments, he came to maybe 3 or 4. He never kissed or rubbed my belly, like literally no affection at all. I just thought about something. What if he was like having PTSD from when his other baby mama was pregnant?
Because who knows how he reacted to that child. And he could have been mentally fucked up.
I just thought about that. I didn't even think about that. At that point, I'm like, it's just not what he is. It's not what he's about. So even though it bothered me and I felt like I was alone doing things with my pregnancy, I just left it alone. So she was settling. She said, you know what? It is who he is. So I'm going to just put up with it. Where do you draw the line though?
I mean, you know, we've spoken about this before. You know, we have a lot of life to live. And, you know, I'm 33. You're 31, right? We still have a bunch of years to go. We got to watch our kids grow up. But why would we do that miserable?
Yeah.
Why do that where we're settling? Why do that where we're yearning for more from someone?
Like if in 2 years we don't still like each other, we're going to have to.
You're going to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, life is too short. Why? I'm happier in my life because me and you are clicking. But if that's not working and we can't come to an agreement or we can't work it out amongst each other or with help, then we got to cut ties because we have a lot of life to go.
Yeah.
People are starting over in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 60s.
And we don't want our kids to see us miserable together.
Exactly. We've spoken about this before too. Like it trickles down. If me and you are clicky, if me and you are tight, that love flows down to the kids. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it sucks.
And I feel like sometimes it comes down to compatibility. Like if someone's not willing to meet you halfway, then y'all not compatible. That's not your person. I agree. So then on her anniversary, she asked him, she said, why don't we just go down to City Hall and get married? And his response was, for what? At that point, I'm feeling like crap, but I let it go. 2 years later, I'm trying. So this is like on year 6 now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to convince him to move to Florida from New York to have a better life for the kids and to be able to afford a place and live comfortably. That's a New Yorker's dilemma. Mm-hmm. We've been talking about that. So I feel like people from New York move to Florida,
Atlanta,
Pennsylvania. But we have some listeners in like Cali and stuff. I wonder what their states are. Like people from LA, when you're like, I need to go somewhere else, start fresh. I could buy a nice house.
I won't even pretend to know.
Right? Like I want our listeners to tell us because I'm just curious. All right. He kept saying, yeah, I'm waiting on this promotion at work so I can transfer to ensure that I have that spot and money. He kept procrastinating until he gets fired from the job.
I was about to say, good job for, not just going.
But it's also like, it seems like he was procrastinating and using that as an excuse. So he gets fired. One of my ex-best friends worked with him at the same job. She calls me and says he said an inappropriate sexual comment to her and grabbed the back of her neck. She told management and he was fired. Till this day, he says he doesn't remember saying anything to her. Doesn't remember. What the fuck does that mean? Either you did or you didn't.
That means he didn't know how to lie properly in the moment and said some dumb shit.
At this point, I'm completely over it. I'm hurt and feeling like I'm trapped. Because he got fired, he then started to look for jobs in Florida. He got called back and moves down before I did. I'm waiting on a job transfer. So look how quickly he found a job and left to Florida.
Once shit got hot. Damn. Yeah.
That was the biggest thing for me.
The sexual comment and physical contact.
Again, I'm very pro women. This is year 6 of the relationship, and she told us in the beginning of this that they're on year 10. So she stayed. That would have been
the
it for me.
Straw that broke the camel's back.
And again, she said it was her best friend who did that. And I don't think your best friend is going to get your baby daddy fired.
For no reason. If
it wasn't true.
Man, yeah, I got nothing for this guy. I usually try and put myself in their shoes and see if I could somehow figure out their mindset, but nah.
So remember how you said, oh, he figured it out now that it got hot?
Yeah.
Look what else he does now that it got hot. When I got to Florida, 2 weeks later, he proposed in front of his family, in front of her family.
Oh my God. So the heat's coming.
Uh-huh.
And what's that phrase you've used before?
He's love bombing her.
He love bombed her.
Because previously he's like, for what? No interest in getting married, no affection, not wanting to move to Florida.
Like his back is against the wall, and he's like,
did something extremely inappropriate.
Oh man, did she say yes?
It seems forced, right? Like if
it's definitely forced. It's calculated.
I didn't know how to feel. I was still angry from what happened. I didn't even know how to react. I accepted the ring, but was still on the fence about it. I later thought to myself, if God is presenting this new beginning, then maybe it's for a reason. So I decided to make it work again. This is when people misinterpret signs from God, signs from the universe. He was manipulating you and love bombing you. That's not the universe trying to tell you, oh, maybe now is the time to make it work.
Yeah. I feel for her.
And I feel like that happens a lot when people cheat.
Oh, yeah.
And then want to like, suddenly everything seems right. And it's like, well, maybe the cheating is what we needed to like get our life together. So
to me, what he did is worse. Because, we've spoken about cheating before. There's usually, unless the person's just a serial cheater and they're, insatiable. But for the most part, it's because they're lacking something.
Okay.
And they seek outwards. Mm-hmm. But in this case, he like sexually harassed and sexually or physically had physical contact with someone.
Who was her best friend, who was a coworker.
I don't fully understand what happened. But huge red flag, the biggest of red flags, like slapping you in the face.
When he proposed, I would have been like, oh, so you did say that shit because you didn't want to get married before.
Yeah, that ring is just a ring of guilt.
Exactly.
Wow. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Let me keep going.
Yeah.
During the time in Florida, we were staying with my family until we found a place to live. It was getting to me because my family is very outspoken Puerto Ricans. They would complain about him not cleaning or helping with the kids. Good for her that she had family that was sticking up for her, because first of all, why does anybody need to remind you to help take care of your own kids?
I'm babysitting my kids, bro.
Right? I hate that shit. And also, if you're staying at anybody's house, whether it's your friend, your neighbor, and especially your partner's family, you better be cleaning and helping out and being extra and throwing out the trash. And
I always say that, and that's very true for us. We both have that personality. Even if we're like spending one night at someone's house, we're like overly like, well, make sure my stuff is nice and clean. Make sure I wash whatever dish I use. Make sure the bathroom leaves the way I saw it. Like just little things, because when you enter someone else's space, you have to be mindful that this isn't your space, and it needs to be left even better than when you
arrived. So his love bombing was short-lived, because he should have been at that point where he was still being super perfect. But I guess, she said, I took in all the stress and covered it so that way he wouldn't feel uncomfortable. So she was protecting him from her family, making him feel uncomfortable.
I think I'm a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Is jaded might be it. I don't think jaded is the right word. But I've been with you for so long that sometimes when we do these oh so y'all can relate, I'm like, no, these people don't exist, or these women don't exist. Like these women who are dealing with things like that, because I know your personality so much, and I'm like, Steph would never.
But I also remember that it took certain experiences in my life to make me the way I am. And I know that men could be very manipulating. So I also try not to blame the woman like, oh, you should have left, or this is your fault for putting up with this.
But where do you start to say that? Because, she wrote this and she's naming the timeline of red.
So she knows all the
red flags.
She can identify all the red flags.
Yeah. And so when do you start to say, well,
take some responsibility? I don't know. I guess, I don't know. Eventually, you got to know your worth. I don't know when that is and when the accountability falls on you. That's a good question. It's tough.
Because I am pro-woman. And, I'm sure there's going to be more to the story, but right now where we're at in the timeline, it's like, damn, how many times do you need to be metaphorically slapped in the face for you to be like, oh shit, this isn't
the person for me. So she was holding all of this in, trying to prevent him from feeling uncomfortable. It put a strain on our relationship. Communication became bad between us. All he did was work and come home and sleep. 6 months later, this guy.
6 months.
6 months later, I started seeing him talking to another girl. Oh man, I feel bad now. Now I'm rereading it again, and it's like I could count all the red flags, and it's like, deleting conversation. He was deleting conversations between them. He then tells me he wants a break and needs to get himself together. So after he love bombed her with a ring, he starts seeing someone else and suddenly needs a break. It made absolutely no sense. Go ahead.
Well, it does make sense. Take it from someone who's been in that position. When you get caught, it's like, oh, I just need space now. I need some time. Because rather than dealing with it, you have someone who's obviously hurt in front of you saying, oh, you cheated on me, and laying the facts out or the proof out. And instead of, addressing it now, it's like, I need space, or, we've had problems. And it's like, wait, what? You just proposed to me. And that's just like textbook. I got caught. How do I get my way out of this?
See?
Damn.
Take it from a cheater.
No, what?
A former cheater. I found out who the girl was, where she lived, and I tracked his location one day, and I saw he was at her apartment. He denied it and is taking that shit to the grave with him, even with screenshots. Gaslighting 101. Like, it's kind of like the Shaggy. It wasn't me. No matter what, just deny till you die.
That's the 3Ds.
The what?
The 3Ds. Deny, deny, deny.
The 3Ds. Deny, deny. I never heard of that.
The cheater thing.
The cheater expert over here. I ended up getting my apartment, and a month later, he got his own apartment. That honestly broke me. I went into a deep depression. So I guess
this is from him forcing her hand, basically, because he said he didn't want to. He wanted some time apart.
Yeah, and she was still living in her family's house, so she ended up getting her own apartment.
And he also went.
And then he went and got his own apartment.
Okay.
And I guess she still had hope that he move in with her, because when he got his own place, she went into a depression over it. I didn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I would sit in my car and just cry. He went from being with me to treating me like I was nothing. If he would stay over my apartment, he would sleep in another room. If we were intimate, he would tell me, don't get too attached. Like I was dead ass his side chick. That got me hot. Like, don't get too attached. Like, that's so mean. That's like emotional abuse.
He was whooping her ass.
With words.
And actions.
Emotionally. Yep. I remember he said one day, the next girl I be with, I'm going to give them all the love and affection. Mentally, I was fucked up at this point.
They have a child together by this point, right?
They have a child together. He was purposely hurting her and being emotionally abusive. Like, this was on purpose. Because why would you say the next girl's going to get this? Or we could be intimate, but don't get attached.
He was definitely testing his limits. And the fact that she was still around, kind of like following him with like a lost puppy. He was just like, oh, okay, so you're just gonna stick around no matter what I throw at you. So it's that power trip. He just keeps throwing it at her, and she's still around, still wants him to be there. It's fucked up. He was enjoying that.
Yeah.
Probably
Absolutely.
Sexually too. Probably used to get his dick on.
Oh no. I was so hurt. I moved to another state, took a big pay cut, and he just left me. She should have thanked him. She should have been like, "Thank you for leaving me."
Yeah, but
even though I can't
hindsight
do
is
it.
2020.
Yeah. I knew I had to go into survival mode. There was a point where I paid all my bills and didn't even have $1 in my bank account. So what I did was I put all my energy into work my ass off for promotion to make sure me and my kids were good. So look, when she was apart from him, she made it work.
Yeah.
This part kind of reminded me of like being so broke. Like we had a Friendsgiving here last weekend, and something came up about being broke. And I said, you ever been so broke that you wish you didn't have to eat 3 times a day? And it was crazy how so many people that were here were like, yes, oh my God, I've been there. And like, that shit fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Like, why is that so normal in our community amongst our friends? Like, that's something like I've rarely said to anyone, but I've had those moments. And I can see this mom, like, every dollar going to your bills. That definitely happened to me in my first apartment with Eli. Literally, I was waitressing, and I would make just enough money to pay my bills. I used to be like, thank God Eli's still drinking formula and stuff. I would go to my mother's house and like take a few cans of her food and things. And I was working at a restaurant, so I would eat there. But like whenever I had to eat 3 meals outside of work, I used to be annoyed. Like, I got to spend money on this? Fucking crazy. But anyway, so it seems like she's doing good without him. Is, you know, a sacrifice is hard, but she's
making it work.
She's bouncing back. A few months later, the pandemic hit. I wasn't looking for anyone, but was open to just having a good conversation. My son's father ends up losing his job and asked me to move back in with me. And I let him.
Wait, I'm sorry. I don't know if you jumped by accident. You said she was working hard.
Yeah.
And what?
They were separated.
Okay.
She had her partner. He had his.
Okay. And then he ended up losing his job.
He ends up losing his job because of the pandemic.
And she let him back in.
And she let him back in. So that I'm like, I put in my notes, no.
Okay. I'm not even like, she's hurt me so much in this story. I'm not even shocked.
It's his fault.
No, I get
he
it.
took advantage of her.
I hold them both responsible, honestly.
He's asking to work it out again. Pressure from his family is getting to me, which is annoying as fuck. Why are y'all enabling him? Mind your business. How y'all pressuring her to get back with him after all he's done to her? I wonder if they knew.
That's what I was also going to say. Because a lot of times families don't know.
And a lot of times family enable men to be ain't shit.
Yeah.
So I say, let's see. Months are going by. Pressure is building for us to buy a house. We end up signing for a house. Again, I wrote in my notes, oh no. Because their relationship isn't well. And now a house is such a big commitment.
Yeah. It's like having another baby.
Yeah. For 30 years instead of 18. The other guy I've been talking to, hold on.
That's what I'm saying. You never mentioned another guy.
I didn't? Did I skip it?
That's why I was a little confused.
Oh, I skipped one line. A few months later, the pandemic hit. I wasn't looking for anyone, but was open to just having a good conversation. My son's father ends up losing his job and asks me to move in with him. So in this little bit of time, she kind of starts talking to someone.
Okay. And
in her talking to someone, her son's father says, can I move back in? And she lets him.
Gotcha.
Because the guy she was talking to wasn't that serious.
Gotcha.
Uh-huh. Let me see. Months are going by, pressure's building, they sign on the house. The other guy I've been talking to isn't serious. At the time, I didn't really like him like that, so I didn't think anything of it. More months go by, and the new guy is really showing up. He's showing me all the love and attention I've been asking for from my son's father since day one. But because I made the decision on the home, I'm still not moving forward with the new guy. See, this house is making her stuck. I was also honest about everything with this new guy on all that was going on, but he was still persistent.
He wanted that thing.
Exactly. Weeks passed and the new guy and I are hanging out, having so much fun. I'm falling in love with him. I don't know what to do. I'm stressed because in a few months I'll be moving into the new house. So I guess they signed, they hadn't moved in, with my son's father as a family. But in the moment, I didn't care. I just wanted to be happy. Still knowing things like this don't end well. So you can tell she's having some guilt. She's like, I want to build this life with my son's father, but I'm dating this, I'm going to call him the pandemic boo.
Pandemic bae.
Pandemic bae. The day before the home signing, my son's father looks through my phone and found everything out about the new guy.
The day before.
The day before.
It's like some Lifetime movie.
Right? It's so deep. It turned into the worst day ever, but he still wanted to work through it. Even after getting caught, I still continued to see the other man.
So he still wanted to work through it because he knows that, you know, the grass is definitely not greener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the first time he felt threatened by someone else. After all these years of the manipulation, the gaslighting, the cheating, the emotional abuse, that was the first time where it was like, oh shit, she could easily just leave me. I lost myself. Months went by. So she's still seeing the other guy, right? Is that where I was up to?
Yeah.
Months went by.
Even though she got caught, she was still seeing.
Yep. Still going out with him when I could. She said she would spend the whole day with him instead of going to work sometimes. Because it became like a space where she felt free and happy.
Like a teenage love.
Yes. All right. So before we get into the next part of the story, I want to leave a trigger warning. So it is going to talk about pregnancy and abortion. And I know that for some people that could be triggering. So I just wanted to put that out there, that that's where this story is going. Until one day we slipped up. I ran to get a plan B. And my next period date, nothing came. I was pregnant. I went into panic mode. Thought about everything possible, how I would be looked at by my family, his family, meaning her son's father, how I would have to leave my house with my kids. The other man had a 1-bedroom apartment. So how was that going to work? My son's father was going to kill me. I literally went into a depression. I always told myself I would never get an abortion, and here I was thinking about it. I made an appointment and couldn't go through with it. I made it again and nothing. Here came the morning sickness, and it was the worst ever. From morning to night, I couldn't do it. I couldn't kill my baby. So this is where I stop, and I put some notes in here. Having an abortion, ending a pregnancy should never be called killing my baby.
Yeah, words matter.
So when I responded to this listener, that was like the first point I made, because she referred to this as killing my baby a couple of times. And I'm like, you're not a murderer. You're not a killer. It should never be called killing a baby. It's an embryo or a fetus. Women's lives are more important, and I'm 100% pro-choice. So someone that I know for many years posted this on Instagram. However, I did not get their explicit permission to quote them. So I'm going to quote it without saying who said it. He said, abortion is not a fun choice. No one wants to have an abortion or wants women to have more of them. We simply choose to value the life of women. She is a member of our society, and to fully participate in our society, she must be able to control her body. So that's my stance on it, if you were ever confused.
Yeah, I'm definitely pro-choice too.
Yeah.
And language is important. So saying things like "I killed my babies,"
baby.
just no. That's not the way to go about it. And it kind of like beating down on yourself. I don't like that.
Yeah. And it's like she got a plan B. It still failed. And, you know, abortion is a legal and safe option when you would like to end a unwanted pregnancy, you know? And like the quote said, doesn't mean we're like, yay, abortions, everybody should use it. Like, it's not a form of birth control, but it's an option for women, and it's absolutely necessary for women to have access to safe, legal abortions.
Yeah.
All right. So her story continues. But I still had the guilt. I couldn't sleep at night, especially because after we moved into the house, my son's father started to do everything I was asking him for. But it's also because he had just found out
Yeah.
she was seeing someone else.
He was afraid of losing her.
Yeah. He was cleaning, helping with the kids, was learning how to cook. He was actually trying, and I saw a big change. At this point, I fell out of love with him, but was comfortable with him. I didn't know how to move on. I was so confused on what was the right way to go, stay or go with something new. Here I am, almost at the deadline of the end of my first trimester, and I'm panicking, so I make another appointment for the abortion. I tell the baby's father, and he's begging me not to do it. The day of the appointment, he goes into a rage and contacts my son's father to tell him about the pregnancy. After I told him it was not his place and I wanted to tell him. Travis is like, oh God.
So before you said that little tidbit, I was honestly rooting for this guy, the other man, just in terms of, you know, him potentially being a good suitor for her. That was some sucker shit.
Yeah.
Like super sucker shit. It's her body, her choice. Simple and plain. And him trying to take the choice out of her hands
by telling her.
Yeah, I don't know what he was trying to accomplish with that. That's just super corny. Don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yes, we've all been upset. We've all done things we wish we could take back, but you did it. And
it's also not knowing what type of danger he could probably put her in by doing that.
Yeah, we don't know what would have potentially pushed her children's father over the edge.
Mm-hmm. And she has said he's gonna kill me, and I don't know.
I think that was like more of a.
I know, but you never know.
I think that was more of a, what's the word I'm looking for? Just like a, you know, like a term people use. I don't unless there's something in the story about physical abuse. I don't think he was gonna kill her, but I do know people can be pushed to do things they never thought they would.
And we're talking about someone who was raising a kid, later found out it wasn't his.
Yeah, so there's a lot of layers to it.
A lot of layers to this, and it might impact him in a way that no one's prepared for.
Yeah, so guy number 2.
You fucked up.
You fucked up. Yeah, I'm not a fan anymore.
We were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. All right. So before that moment, I was ready to walk out of the clinic after seeing my baby in the sonogram. I told myself I couldn't do it. But then he did that, and I felt like I had no choice but to do it. And I killed my baby. Again, that language is not okay. She did not kill her baby. She made a legal choice to stop a pregnancy from progressing. I wrote it in my notes because I wanted to make that clear. I went into such a depression after that. It was worse than ever. Still, after all that, my son's father still wanted to work things out and be a family. The other man does as well. The pressure on me from both of them is real. Honestly, I don't know how we can even go back to being in love. How could this be repaired after everything? What would have even been the point to get an abortion to go be with the other man? So this is where it ends. And she asks for our advice.
Okay.
So I wrote down what my response was to her, but I want to hear from you.
All right. First off, I would start by leaving everyone.
Leaving both of them.
Leaving both of them. Obviously, your children or your son's father is the worst of the two. But based off of how guy number 2 reacted to you wanting to get an abortion, he ain't shit to me either. Because that could have been a time to really, really lock in what you were feeling. And he could have been compassionate and understand how much of a difficult situation you were in and been there for you and been one of those people who say, whatever you want to do, I'm here for you. If you decide to keep it, I'm here. If you decide to do this, I'm here. And rode with her in that way. But like I said earlier, it was some sucker shit. And I don't know. That's not a quality I would want in a partner.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely not be with your son's father. Personally, I wouldn't. I mean, the new guy isn't as bad, but after what he did with that situation, I'm not a fan of him either.
Okay.
I personally believe she needs to disconnect from both of them, love herself again, focus on her children, and move on.
Yeah.
I just don't see any redeemable qualities in either man.
Yeah. You ready to hear what I said?
Do it.
So this is part of what I said. I said more to her. But I said, you have to let go of your son's father. You have to decide if this other guy is your person. I say this because if it was 100% obvious that he was your person, you would have already chosen him. What has held you back from choosing this other guy? And I don't mean your son or the house. I mean, what about him as a person is holding you back? Would you be settling again? Are there red flags? Is he financially stable? Is he able to become the man of the house for a woman with 2 children? Is he stepdad material? Would you want your daughter with a man like him? These questions are difficult to face. However, you have to dig deep and be honest with yourself if you want to avoid heartache for another 10 years. Because there has to be a reason. If this other guy was like, the guy, you don't give a fuck about your ex, this guy who's manipulated you, you wouldn't let him move in, even though she let him move in before the feelings got strong.
Well, I'll push back on that a little. A lot of people, not just women, you want that family dynamic. She's already has her first kid out of, she's no longer with that father. And here she is, starting over again. And now it's like, damn, potentially 2 failed relationships and 2 kids out of those relationships. At some point, she's probably trying to hold on to that family dynamic. And
there's a lot of pressure on women not to have too many baby daddies.
Exactly.
Like that could totally be influencing her.
Exactly. So she probably feels like a failure. So it's easier said than done.
Absolutely.
But, you got to have more self-worth.
Yeah. This is my other part of my response. If you decide you want to stay with either of them, know it's going to be a difficult journey because of all the drama. The drama, the breach in trust. The other guy might feel like you're capable of cheating on him the way you did on your son's father. Your son's father will be worried about you getting pregnant by another man. If y'all have more children, he may question if they are his, especially because of his experience with his first son. So maybe in the end, the best option is leaving them both, starting over, focusing on yourself, your children, and allowing yourself time to heal so that when a quality man comes into your life, you are ready to receive him.
We're on the same wavelength, baby.
Yeah. I do want to, it's so funny because I wrote this email to her like last week. But I do want to clarify, like, I don't think you have to be fully healed to meet someone new.
Okay.
Time is always good, taking space, learning to love yourself. But that doesn't mean that you can't still be open to love in the process of it. I feel like even when we dated, I had wounds that weren't healed. And we kind of worked through them together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it's not impossible for her to be quote unquote broken and still be with someone and heal while being with that person, especially if that's a quality person who's gonna, comfort her and be there for her through those tough times.
And it's not that I'm encouraging find the next one right now, but if life sometimes happens that way, and I wouldn't want her to like shut down the opportunity just because it seems so quick or she's not healed.
Yeah.
But my concern is she may also be in a situation where she hasn't learned her value and her what she deserves, and she might still ignore red flags.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
We've heard a lot about her son's father, everything he's done, some crazy things.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a whirlwind of a story. Is it possible that after everything that's been done, everything he's done, everything that's been done to him, he is finally in a place where he can love her properly? Or do you think he has done too much?
I don't think she owes it to him to give him any more of her time.
Even if he is.
To prove that.
Gotcha.
Like, I feel like time's up. It should have been up. And I just feel like it has happened so many times that he might be okay for a year or two.
Before he like falls back into that.
And then he's going to go back into that shit. You know how they say if someone shows you their true colors. But like, no. I honestly 100% made it clear that I think that he's not it. He's not the one. This other guy, I'm not sure. I feel like I need to know more. You know, he does have his own place or whatever, but I'm just like, there's a reason why you haven't fully committed to him more. And not just, I have a house and maybe, like you said, that pressure to have a family. If that pressure was strong enough, she would have stopped talking to him. You get what I'm saying? It's like she's riding this middle. I really wish the story ended where she had left this guy.
So currently, is she still in this limbo?
She's still in this limbo.
So, I mean, I guess this advice is even more important because there is no resolution here. Mm-hmm. It's time to go. It's time to go. If this other guy hasn't shown you anything that you see worth being with, it's time to go. It's definitely time to go out the house. Mm-hmm. And the jury's still out on guy number 2, but like Steph said, if that thing isn't there that's making you just want to lock it down, then keep it pushing. Mm-hmm. I know these words are easier said than done because there's a lot that comes into play. You have this home, you have children, and
that society pressure not to have a third baby daddy.
Fuck that.
I know it's easy to say fuck that, but
I'm just saying it, but it has to be said. Fuck that. Fuck them. It's your life. Yeah. I'm assuming this person is around our age, maybe younger, whatever.
Probably around our age.
But you still have so much life to live. It doesn't matter if you were 40 or 50 and you were telling us this story.
Yeah, we'll still have the same
advice.
Fuck them, leave.
Because there's going to be someone who's worth your time. And to me personally, neither of them are. Yeah, that's what I got.
I'm all done, baby.
You all done? I feel drained.
We got to go breastfeed River or change his diaper.
Oh, yeah, in this hypothetical.
When this drops.
Yeah, so good luck to you. I'm sending positive energy.
Sending all our love and sorry. I hope that hearing our thoughts, gave you a little more clarity. But at the end of the day, you have to make your own choice, right?
And I feel like, just one last thing on this, I also feel like, sometimes you write things down and you kind of, it's like laying your dirty laundry out. And it's like, damn, this is my fucking life. I'm sure there was some therapy in her even writing
it out
and going through it, maybe rereading it, now having us tell it again. Mm-hmm. I'm hopeful that this is a light bulb moment for her.
Yeah.
So, we're here for you if you need a follow-up email. Mm-hmm. But, good luck.
Absolutely. Good luck.
Baby.
Daddy.
Do you still like me?
I still like you. But we got to go feed the baby.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.